Hello, BookTube. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this video. I no sooner get the video quality cleaned up on this channel than the sound drops right through the floor and suddenly nobody can hear the videos. I have no idea, but I'm hoping that you can. I wanted to give you a brief tech update. I recently got, thanks to the huge generosity of one of you, sent me some tech. You're always free to send Steve tech. And recently I got 2 pieces of tech in the mail. One of them doesn't really need much in the way of explanation. The same person sent me 2 pieces of tech. One of them was the Kindle Basic, the black Kindle Basic. So you've got the slightly sunken, slightly raised bezels there, and just a basic screen. And they sent it in this extremely lightweight case. Case doesn't add any bulk. It doesn't add, you can see, right? It adds no bulk at all. It snaps right onto the device, and it's as light as a feather. And so because it's light, it doesn't add a whole lot in the way of protection, but it does give your hand someplace else to rest, something else to grab the device on so that it's not resting on the power button, which otherwise mine almost certainly do. But that doesn't need much in the way of explanation. These new Kindle Basics are incredibly good e-readers. I know they're the entry-level Kindle, but they are really, really good. They're really, really sharp, really responsive. Of course, they have a huge amount of storage space. That was one of the things the person sent me. That was very nice. But that doesn't require much in the way of a tech update, whereas the other thing they sent me did. The other thing they sent me was this. This is the Amazon Fire Max 11. This is their latest big tablet. This is not just a dedicated e-reader. This is an LCD screen, full color, full Wi-Fi capacity for, you know, going on to websites and whatnot. And this is the newest one that Amazon makes. It's the first one that has this kind of aluminum backing. It's got the rounded corners and the flat edges. It's very much meant, I think, to mimic the form factor of the latest iterations of iPads. And I went around, I looked at some of the videos that were talking about this thing when I thought there was a chance I might be getting one. And most of them revealed only how poor most tech channels are for ordinary people, how poor they are. They spend enormous amounts of time indulging in techno gibberish. They spend enormous amounts of time assessing how good the device is on things that no one is going to use it for. They seem most of the tech channels that I've seen, whenever I have a product that I'm thinking about, I always watch 1,000 videos. And most of the tech channels don't seem to have anything in the way of a meaningful connection with normal people. They are tech channels. I think they quickly pull up sticks and just move entirely into that world. So you're getting Geekbench test scores and quad-core this and ultrasound that, and the ordinary reader, the ordinary user doesn't care about those things at all. So I was looking at those things, and they were doing very little in the way of preparing me for what this thing would be like. I'm shocked still. I know this is 2023, but I'm still shocked to see how many tech channels feature a host simply getting on a well-lighted set and reading product material from the manufacturer. Just, here's what it's rocking under the hood. Here's what you're going to get for battery life. Here's what it's going to seem like, without ever testing it themselves to find out whether or not that's true. This thing, for instance, and all of those, that's one kind of a tech channel, those brainless cheerleaders who they're getting free stuff and they're doing what they're supposed to get free stuff. Those tech channels, to a single person, unanimously said this. They repeated the Amazon line that this thing gets 14 hours of battery life. It most certainly does not. Unless you're not doing anything with it, unless you charge it up to 100%, close its case and leave it alone. Otherwise, no. No, it doesn't. And telling that lie, well, sure, that's going to keep you on the good side of whatever manufacturer is sending you their stuff for free, but it doesn't help your audience at all. But when I was looking at all of those things, I was thinking, okay, since you're obviously being paid to upsell this thing, I can't really take you as reliable on anything to do with the lived experience of this device. Your videos will still be valuable to me because you're showing me how your maneuvers and what it looks like and all that, what the accessories look like. But I'll have to experience it myself for C, and because of that, in my mind, I was mentally thinking that that experience would be very similar to the Kindle Fire HD10, the 10-inch tablet that preceded this one, their 10-inch iPad, basically. And I have a couple of those, and I have one of the iteration before that. And although I am always amazed at how much Amazon packs into these things for how little price, I guess that helps when you're a gigantic monopoly. I guess that's one of the things you can do if you want to, although they don't have to. I'm sure they'd still have people buying these things even if they doubled the price. Although I was amazed by that with the earlier Kindle Fires, I noticed two things about them that had me on my guard for this thing. One was that they're a little slodgy when you use them. When you're moving things around, when you're sliding trays across the front of your screen, or when you're going from one screen to another or one site to another. I'm not saying that it's anything other than a first world observation. I'm not saying that it's anything drastic, but you can definitely tell that you're not using an iPad. For instance, you can definitely tell that you're using something where corners were cut. So that was one thing that I was expecting. And the other thing that I was expecting was something that has turned out to be true with every Amazon device that I've had, except the e-readers. Their color stuff, whether it's the smaller Fire, I have a bunch of those, or whether it's these larger Fires, one thing that I've noticed, the other thing I've noticed about them, is that they start to senesce. I don't know of any other way to put it. It's not that they just break. It's not planned obsolescence, but they start to slow down. And that's even if you keep them updated and whatnot. They start to slow down. They start to get all achy in their joints and whatnot, to the point where you're not so eager to use it anymore. It's not so smooth an experience anymore. So I had my guard up for both of those things when I got this, and I have been living with this thing since I got it, day and night. And I am tremendously impressed. Now, keep in mind, one of those two things I can't know about this device, right, is brand new, and I just got it. So I don't know if it's going to senesce. I don't know if it's going to, in a year, suddenly be saying, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. That website seems awful heavy. Do I have to lift that? I don't know if it's going to do that. But the first one, the first one, no. This is, to use a horrible phrase that the tech channels all use, buttery smooth. This is an amazing, amazing experience. This cost you a little over $200 to get. And it is, like I mentioned, it is functionally indistinguishable from the entry-level iPad. I want to go over just a little bit of it with you I promised a tech update. I wanted to go over a little bit with you. The first thing that I had to do with this is the ad-supported version. I ordinarily thought, I bridled at that idea. You get this. When you turn on the screen, you get something like this. And all you have to do is just swipe up and you get rid of it. You have to swipe up anyway to turn on the device. So at first I thought, oh no, I don't want ads showing up whenever I do this. You can pay, of course, with Amazon, you could pay them a little more. There's an option to pay. There's always an option to pay with Amazon. If you pay them a little bit more, the ads disappear. I swear, they're such a powerful conglomerate that I bet there's an option for you to pay them a lot more and they will solve global warming. But first I thought I was going to do that, but these things are incredibly non-invasive. If there were a banner, like for instance on the home screen, that would be different, but no. I mean, there is a banner on the home screen, but the banner on the home screen is book related. It's still Amazon trying to intrude on the solitude of your experience. They absolutely don't do that inside the reading experience on the Nook app. When you're reading in your library on this thing, there is no intrusion. But on the home screen, you could pay to get rid of the ads, but without doing that, there's this. There's this banner up on top here, which is for you, it's suggested stuff, just suggested reads. Any of you who've ever seen these things, whether it's on Amazon or anywhere else, the algorithm's not all that good. Stephen King's fairy tale is obviously not for me, and neither is Dean Koontz, but this will be on here. And I never even, I mean, you can go that far. That's as much of it as there is. I never even bother to do that. I just leave it up there. It even has a functional detail. The first two squares there are a couple of your latest things. They're a couple of the latest things that you're active on, under the assumption that if you were active on one of those apps and then you left it, maybe it's the next thing you want. Maybe you want to go back to it. Maybe you left it accidentally or closed it down accidentally, or, oh wait, I just remembered something. This is actually useful. I don't so much mind the rest of these here. But the first thing that I had to do with this, first thing I have to do with any Amazon device that I get, and thanks to your generosity and the generosity of viewers like you, I've received quite a few Amazon devices in my time on YouTube. The first thing I have to do is go get around the Amazon operating system. The Fire operating system is very much designed to funnel commerce to Amazon. It's very much designed to do that. And when you get one of these things out of the box, one of the first things you're going to want to do is load it with your favorite apps, right? No matter what kind of a user you are, that's what you're going to do. And you're going to go to the App Store. Here, let me give you a visual so you're not just staring at my face the whole time. Yeah, see, right there, you can see, there's the little Amazon logo. That is the Amazon App Store. And that comes on this device, of course. And when you go on it, you find right away how much isn't there. There's a lot that isn't there for one reason or another. Because this is an Android device, but it's operating with the Fire OS skin on top of it. Which means that you won't get the full Android experience. You're getting a whole bunch of stuff that Amazon wants to push on you, and a whole bunch of really sort of knockoff rate Amazon versions of some famous apps, and no versions at all of some of the most popular apps in the world, some of the most popular things in the world. You can't put Google on this device. You can't put Google Chrome, their operating system, on this device. So one of the first things I have to do when I get one of these things is change that fact. And that's actually not that hard to do. I'm no techie, and I can do it, so anybody can do it. It's just a question of you use the native web browser on this thing, the Silk browser. I think it's the Silk browser. Whatever, every Amazon tablet comes with a web browser. It's not the web browser that you want. It's not Google, it's not Amazon, it's not Google Chrome or Firefox or anything like that. Instead, it's whatever it is. I think it's Silk. You go to their web browser and simply look up, install Google Play on, and the thing will auto-fill for you whatever device you want to do. Just pick, install Google Play, Kindle Fire Max 11. You do that, you go to any video that pops up, they're all going to have the timestamps and direct links to where you need to go. What you need is four nodules of technology. You need 4 AKP nodules of technology, because there are 4 things you need to do. You need to do, think of it like building a house. You need, the foundation, and then the first floor, and then the second floor, and then the third floor. You need to, each one of those floors separately, you need to download to the device. So once you've found those things, once you've found those in the list, you have to go into the settings of the device, go into security and privacy. There'll be one particular toggle that says accept apps from unknown sources. And that is switched off on your Amazon Kindle, because Amazon doesn't want you messing around online and maybe importing something bad to your Kindle Fire. You have to toggle that to yes. The device has to be able to accept those things, or it's no good. There's no good you finding them if it's going to reject them. Once you've toggled that to yes, and your device can now accept apps from downloads from unknown sources, then you go to the website, whatever AKP website you're being directed to when you do that search, and download each one of those 4 things. And the only things to keep in mind, there are 2. It's very simple. I'm making it sound more complicated than it is. The only things to keep in mind, 1, you have to be kind of sort of sure to be downloading the right AKP. So that's especially true if you're trying to do this on an older piece of technology. The very latest iteration of whichever of those layers you're trying to download probably won't work on an older piece of technology. This is brand new, so I didn't even need to think about it. I just went straight for the top one on every list. That's one thing that you have to think about. Make sure you're downloading the right thing or it won't work. And the second thing you need to think about happens at the end. Once you've downloaded all 4 of those things, you have to make sure, just like with a house, that you install them in order. Foundation, first floor, second floor, third floor. If you don't, it's not going to work, and might do harm. Unlikely that it will do harm. These things have been through a million downloads, so any bugs have been worked out. I doubt seriously that you're going to hurt your device by failing to do this procedure, and oh my, the benefit if you succeed. You will succeed. It's as easy as could be. I'm making it sound harder than it is. The most important thing is that final thing. Once you have all the downloads, you want to install them on the device in the correct order. basement, first floor, second floor, third floor. Once you've done that, the third floor, the final thing that you'll get is the Google Play Store. And as you can see here, oh no, I moved it. I moved it because I got all that I wanted out of it. So you can see, there's the Google Play Store. So I did succeed in downloading it. I downloaded Google Drive, I downloaded Google Photos, and that allowed me to clean up the desktop. The desktop had a whole bunch of Amazon bloatware on it, a whole bunch of stuff that you can't delete. It doesn't take up much of your onboard storage. This thing has a very good processor. I think it's 4 gigs of RAM. And it has, the model that I got has 64 gigs of memory. That's a lot for what I do. That's a lot. That won't help you if you're a high-end gamer, or if you're doing video processing or anything like that. But I don't do anything like that. Basically, this is a word processor, as we'll be getting to, because this isn't just a content consumption device. It's not meant to be. Amazon is trying to edge it in a different direction, and I think they succeeded marvelously, just marvelously. But once I had the Google Play Store, I was able to reconfigure my desktop. So you have this little folder up at the top here. I just moved all the Amazon bloatware into that folder so I wouldn't have to look at it. There's a whole ton of stuff here that's just, shop Amazon, maps, Amazon special offers, etc., etc. Can't blame them for wanting to make a buck, but I don't want that stuff on my desktop. So I moved it all up into that one folder and went through the Google Play Store to get all the stuff I actually want. So a quick note folder, just a free notes thing. You open it up, you make a note. I find those very useful for a to-do list. Believe it or not, I am so old that I like to make a to-do list. I am not trying to be a productivity bro. I am not trying to be a minimalist bro or a change your life bro. I am not going to end this video with a webinar series that you can pay $399.99 for. I'm not trying to do any of that. It's just when I'm done with the day, when I'm done with any day, and it is time for me to take the bean out for one last walk and then bundle her into bed and start reading. Right before I do that, I like to make a to-do list for the next day, so that it's not on my mind, so that I'm not going into reading thinking, don't forget. I don't want to have any of that dragging at my attention. So instead, I make a to-do list for the next day. Here are a list of the things you need to do. I'm not outrageous about it. I'm not aspirational about it. I want to be able to check as many as possible of those things off the list as the day goes on. And this is great for that. Some kind of notation thing is great for that. I chose this one because it has no ads. It has no little banners or anything like that. I had to look. Most of them have in-app ads. This one doesn't. Then for reasons that surpass my understanding, I put Twitter on this thing. I don't have any idea why, but I did. It's a cesspool. I look at it for bookish announcements from people that I know and from publishers, but there are other ways for me to do that. I really don't know why. It's just habit. That's all. It'll probably come off. I, of course, put the Google Chrome system on there. And YouTube, the actual YouTube. This is the actual YouTube, not the version that you get in the Amazon App Store, which is just a link to the YouTube website. It's not going to help you much. There's all sorts of extra steps you're going to have to take, whereas this is actually YouTube. Put Wikipedia on there because I love it, I need it, and I use it regularly, and you freelance writers out there who use it regularly, or you teachers out there who use it regularly, I'll take this opportunity to point out what I like to point out every time Wikipedia comes up, which is that you should donate to Wikipedia. You're getting a lot, and if you're not donating, you're getting a lot for nothing. You're getting a lot of hard work and paying nothing for it. You should donate to Wikipedia. They will be grateful for it. They are not corporate owned like so much of the rest of this crap. I put Instagram on there, of course, so I can look at all of the cute dog pictures and post some of my own. Gmail, of course. Voxer, so I can keep in touch with everybody. The Kindle app is on here, and the wonderful thing about Amazon's Kindle app, I don't know how long they'll keep this to be true, but right now, when I sign in to a Kindle app on some new device, I see all of my Kindle books. Sure. All of those free titles that I send to Kindle every day, I see those, sure. But it also downloads all of the side-loaded content. I don't have to side-load every single time I have a new device. So I have the very pleasant experience when I start out using a device like this of seeing all my Kindle books and looking up at the folder for sorting them, the little tab for sorting them, and it says you've got, 379 books. And I have this momentary deflation of, And then in the course of an hour, I get the very satisfying sensation of seeing that number go 379, 479, 679, 1079, 2079 as it loads more and more books. Always wonderful, always lots of fun. There's the Google Docs app on here so that I can read and also work, and we'll be getting to that. There's my weather app, and also Read Era, the Read Era app. Now, some of you eagle-eyed people who know my channel are going to notice something missing there. There are quite a few things missing here. I haven't finished building up this desktop. I wanted to start using the device rather than worry about that. And I have endless amounts of storage left, so I can add a lot more. Ideally, I want to finish this whole page with stuff that I actively use. But you'll notice something missing. The Barnes & Noble reading app, the Nook app, is missing. I thought about it for a long time on here because, I'm a bookish person. But then I realized, well, all the books that I want are on the Kindle app anyway. And the only thing the Kindle app doesn't really do well is read graphic novels. And for that, I have in the past used other apps specifically designed for reading comic books, especially one, the late lamented Chunky app. I love that app so much. Now it's gone. You can't use it anymore. I have it on a couple of devices, but it's not made anymore. And one day earlier this year, I made the incredible discovery that the Books app Read Era reads comic books. It does them really well. It's really, really smooth, good experience. It's not exactly the same as Chunky, but it's a really smooth, good experience. And that made me think, this feels so disloyal. But it made me think, well, do I need the Barnes & Noble app? I mean, all of my books are on the Read Era app anyway, and on the Kindle app. Do I need another app when I have those two already? Do I need Chunky or any version thereof in the Google Play Store if Read Era also reads comic books? Not really. No, they're good enough on their own. So I just left it. I don't know if I'll change my mind about that, but I just left it. And this screen is not sludgy at all. The movements, the navigation on this thing is incredible. And the screen itself, you're not going to be able to make it out, but it is incredibly beautiful. Just amazingly sharp. There is no functional difference between it and the entry-level iPad. None at all that I can find. The only difference would be that my entry-level iPad I use for productivity, in addition to content consumption, if I'm going to be forced to use the tech channel verbiage. I use it for productivity as well. I have a magic keyboard that attaches on the pogo pins at the bottom of my iPad. And it isn't Bluetooth. It works directly with the iPad. It doesn't require extra charging on its own. And it's a miracle. It's a canvas covered thing, and I just love it. Absolutely love it. I love it so much I've gone through 2 of them, because I wear it out. I wear it out how much I love it. I start to fray the edges and also wipe the lettering right off the letters. I am murder on keyboards. I learned how to type and how to love typing and how to lose myself in typing on a manual typewriter that weighs 20 pounds and that cannot be broken. Even I can't break it. What you used to do on those things was pound away, slam the return carriage, pound away on another line, slam the return carriage. And no matter how much you pounded on it, night after night after night, you weren't going to hurt it. You weren't going to do anything with it. And I have tried to ameliorate those habits over time, but it's still a work in progress. And the reason why I bring up productivity is because that's another aspect of this device that I immediately wanted to use. Because the sender also sent the optional keyboard. Now they sent this as well. I should show you all of this stuff since I'm right here. They sent this. This is just a case for the Fire Max, which I renamed mine. When I rename all my tech, I named it just Max. This is a case for it. It's magnetic, as you can see, as you can hear. So there's no snapping or latching or anything like that. You just line up the camera slot on this, and it's a magnetic case. It's a good, solid magnet, so it's not going to slide out of there. And it's a sleep-wake case. So if you're moving around with your iPad, your Kindle Fire, this is an option. But the other option was this. This also can be a case. I don't use it that way, and I wonder if you're the same way. But I have used it for productivity because I wanted to see what that was like. That's clearly what Amazon is going for. You attach the keyboard like that, and then suddenly you've got a keyboard. And the first thing you do, before you do that, there is another piece here. There are multiple pieces. This is a backing for the aluminum. If you want to cover the aluminum, again, you just line up the camera, and this is also magnetic, so that's good and solid on there. You attach that first, and then you attach the keyboard. And this backing has a kickstand that is multiply adjustable. It's really stiff, so it'll stand in almost any position that you want, so that you can use this to type on this machine. So all that was left for me to do was to set this up like that and type on it for a while. And I love it. I love the experience. I want to show you what I mean by the iPad. This is the case for the iPad. You can see the same pogo pins there. And the case is canvas, so it unfolds. And then you fold it like that, and you snap the iPad down like that, and then Bob's your uncle, you're typing like that. But the keys have no spaces between them. They are covered in thin canvas. And I love this typing experience, absolutely love it. And then when you're done, you snap it closed and flip it over onto the iPad, and you've got a case, a covering. And the one thing I can't get used to when that is not an option. See, when I'm typing on this thing, see what I mean? You just get these little ads, and then you just swipe right through them. They're really not intrusive. It's just the one thing. When I'm typing on this thing, and let's say I want to use it as an iPad, if I flip it around like that, the minute the magnets on here make contact with the magnets on the device itself, the keyboard is deactivated. So you can hold it like this without causing any typing on the screen. But it feels weird. Do any of you feel that way when you have something like this? This is very common on a 2-in-1 tablet. And it feels weird. I can't get used to it. Will I? Have you got used to it? I can't get used to the feeling of having keys under my fingers when it just feels, it feels weird. Absolutely weird. It's not that big a deal in this case, because if I don't like that, I can just remove the keyboard. And that is what I have been doing in the last 2 days. I have not felt even the slightest temptation to put it in this case. Instead, I've just left it like this. The glass is extremely strong. I do believe the tech channel's about. The glass is extremely strong. And so it's not going to be scratched anyway. And it's awful convenient to have this kickstand. Even if you don't have the keyboard, it's awful convenient to have the kickstand. To just prop it up, put it somewhere on a counter or on a stack of books or something like that. So, and also it's easier to hold this way, because you can put the kickstand out like that and hold it like this. Okay, I'm alarming the thing because I'm waving it all around, and it's a very sensitive little daffodil. But you can hold it like this, and it's really easy to do. It's a good solid magnet, so it's not going anywhere. And that's what I've been doing. I know that's probably brutal or barbaric, but I've just been carrying it around like this. And then when I know that I'm going to need a keyboard, so let's say I'm carrying it around, let's say I'm reading all night. I read all night long on this thing. It does not get 14 hours of battery life, but it gets a good solid long chunk of battery life. You're up in the 90s for a long time. And that is great. Absolutely great. I get tons of books, tons of ebooks. I get tons of ebooks from publishers. I'll show them on this channel, because then right after the ebooks get to me, usually the advanced copy, the review copy gets to me, the physical review copy gets to me. But I did a ton of reading on this, and that's all that I do. I do a ton of reading on this, and then I just set it down. I figure the glass is probably tough enough to take me. The most I have to do is wipe it down and clean it, because I'm holding it with my thumb so much of the time. But when I know that I've got work coming up, real work, not just, a little bit of an email here and there. When I know that I've got work coming up, well, then I add this. Then I add the keyboard. And the keyboard is a wonderful typing experience. I know the tech channels will say not, but I love it. I really do. It's a little bit on the small side, but I have found that my hands adapt right away to that. Whether it's a huge keyboard or a really small one, they adapt right away. It's no more. I'm not fumbling for more than 15 minutes before I'm suddenly, okay, muscle memory takes over and I know where things are. So far, that has been wonderful. I'm a big fan of the on-screen keyboard for LCD, for full color tablets. I'm a big fan of the on-screen keyboard. It's nice and big. I've never found much of a problem with incidental or even not so incidental typing, even longer typing, I've never found a problem with using those. But if I have to do a lot of typing, a long stretch of text, then obviously I'm going to need a keyboard, and I've been using this. And my main question, when I've been carrying this thing around, it's with me always now. It's with me always now. I could make some suggestions, I guess. Like, for instance, this thing here with the kickstand, surely there's a way, I don't know, surely there's a way with folds or origami of some kind to give this an extra hinge so that it has a flap that will go over the screen when I'm carrying it around and still reserve the kickstand. I don't know if that's possible at all. It's just, it would be way too much of a rigmarole to put it in this thing and then take it out of that when this thing doesn't have a kickstand and this thing does. So I'm just carrying it around with my finger directly on the screen the whole time. And I have been carrying it around. I have been using this a lot. And the acid test that I use for something like this is, okay, take a device in hand. Not an e-reader, of course, because their use is already prescribed, thematically prescribed, such as it were. But another device, some other device, whether it's a tablet or a MacBook or a laptop of any kind, a Chromebook, take up that device and see how, don't think about it, just go through your day, see how long you can go on that device before you honestly need something it does not do. And I have not found much in the way here. There are two functions that this thing cannot do so far. Two things that are absolutely native to my MacBook. Two things that are on there. No device is going to do that. And so I can't just abandon it. But otherwise, oh my God. For viewing Godzilla -1, how incredibly gratifying to see that the rest of the world agrees with me and what I've been telling you for months, which is that Godzilla -1 is a heck of a movie. That's incredibly gratifying to see that all critics agree. But for everything else, for all kinds of typing, which is what I do all day long, for all kinds of reading, which is what I do all night long, this is an excellent device. I guess that's the main point here, is that this is an excellent device. I don't know what the combo is to get the device and the keyboard and the case and the whatnot. I'm sure that Amazon has a separate price for all of those things, but I wanted to give you a tech update about the major thing. The Kindle Basic sort of handles itself. A lot of you have them. A lot of them can't live without them. I increasingly can't live without mine. But this thing, this is optional, of course. Most people, I think, would only consider this if they're in the market for a full-color tablet and they really don't want the eye-watering expense of an iPad. That I would understand completely. Except I was expecting, that's clearly what this is meant for, including the keyboard bundle. See, the nice thing about the Magic Keyboard, is that it folds into the cover. So when I wrap this around the iPad, I'm not touching keys. I don't want to be touching keys. Basically, I'd love to know. That's the only thing wrong with this thing. I would keep it in this case all the time and never change it. Never remove the keys at all. If only it weren't so weird to be holding keys when I'm holding a tablet. That I guess I could solve the problem if I only ever used it right-handed, because then I wouldn't be holding keys. Or I guess I could rotate it so that. I guess I could do that. Maybe I'll get used to it. Let me know if you do this and you ever do. If you have a 2-in-1 tablet. One piece of tech that I don't have is a 2-in-1 laptop. A 2-in-1 laptop I do not have. I now have two of these. My iPad does this, where it has a case with a keyboard, and now Max does this as well. And Max is no slouch. No slouch at all. When I'm carrying it around, waiting to see if I bump my shins against something that it legitimately cannot do, that I legitimately need to, not a preference, but where it cannot do what I need it to do. I need to move to another piece of technology. That's happened in the time that I've had this thing, but only for one very specific function on one very specific machine. I've had to go to my MacBook. I have never needed to go from this to my iPad. I have not needed to do that. I haven't even had to think about it. That's pretty impressive, I think, for a device that without any of the extras costs you a little over $200. That's pretty impressive. So I wanted to give you this tech update. Of course, most of this tech update is going to be boring. Most of it is just reading. I've been doing a huge amount of reading on this thing. I don't experience the eye strain that a lot of you do when you read on an LCD screen for long periods of time, read books on an LCD screen, the thing that drives you to your Kindles. I don't experience that. So I might be hurting my eyes anyway and just not know it, but I don't need to go to the Kindle for reading. And last night and the night before, I have not gone. I've just happily indulged on reading on Macs. That's been wonderful. So very much thank you again to the person who sent this. I don't know if, I think this was a double. I think the person who sent this mentioned that by accident they got two. But I just want to let that person know it's getting an enormous workout. And it's joyfully received. I want to let the rest of you know, just as a tech update, ask a bunch of tech questions myself. This is, I get tech in the mail. Some of you want to know how it all shook out. This is shaking out wonderfully. This is a heck of a device. I don't have any idea if it will senesce. I have no idea if in a year it'll be, oh, it's you again. But the iPads certainly don't do that. Oh my God. My iPad 2nd generation, my iPad 2, Lil Henry, I got that thing when? I don't even know. 11, 12, 15 years ago, something. I got it as soon as the iPad 2 came out. And it still works just fine. There are things it cannot do. But the things that it can do, it does without any hesitation, just as smooth as glass. So that doesn't happen with the iPads. It might happen with this thing. We shall see. But anyway, that's your tech report for today. I just wanted to wrap this up. I'm hoping that this video is audible. That would be great. But in the meantime, I'll wrap this up for now. I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.